What if the place you're living in isn't just quiet, it's soul-crushingly boring? Not peaceful, not small-town charming. I'm talking about the kind of town where ambition goes to die, where excitement is measured in how many stoplights turn green on your way to Walmart. And here's the scarier thought. What if you're already living there and you don't even know it? That's the problem with America. Everyone hypes up the bright lights, the dream cities, the fast-growing suburbs with overpriced oat milk lattes, but no one talks about the dead zones. The places so void of energy you could drop a marching band in the middle of Main Street and the only thing you'd hear is the squeak of a clarinet reed. These are not ghost towns. No, they're worse. They're technically alive. People still go to work, pay rent, mow the lawns, and pretend things are fine. But deep down, you know nothing happens here. No culture, no nightlife, no spark. Just parking lots, franchise restaurants, and the eternal hum of fluorescent lights. And if you think I'm being dramatic, I'm not. The data proves it. Population growth flatlines, event calendars look like blank Excel sheets, independent venues per 10,000 residents, practically zero. It's like the towns themselves signed a contract with mediocrity and never read the fine print. So buckle up, because today I'm dragging them into the light. This isn't nostalgia, this isn't sugar-coated, this is me handing you the list of America's 10 most boring towns. Sorry, not sorry. If your hometown makes the cut, don't get mad at me, get mad at your city council. Number 10, Boring, Oregon. You knew this one was coming, and no, the name isn't a prank your map app played on you. Viewer, I'm talking to you directly, because if you move here, your notifications become birdsong and municipal notices about culvert maintenance. New rule, when the town's biggest debate is asphalt color for a repaved parking lot, the party is over before it starts. Boring's population sits in the low 5 figures. If you include the unincorporated sprawl, the median age leans older than the national mark, and retail is a familiar grid of hardware, feed, and chain coffee. Commute times are short, under 20 minutes, because there's nowhere urgent to go after 6 p.m. Parks are lovely but quiet. The pickleball courts have better attendance than any open mic. By 9, traffic counts drop so steeply. DOT could nap on the center line. Data heads, chew this. Restaurant variety index is low, independent venues per 10,000 residents are near zero, and calendar density barely cracks one event per week. Boring's claim to fame is its alliance with dull Scotland and bland Australia. Cute, yes, but it's giving small talk energy. Housing, reasonable detached homes and yard space turn you into a weekend mulch philosopher. If you want sirens, skyline, and midnight udon, keep scrolling. If your dream Friday is a hardware rebate and a Froyo coupon, this is your Shangri-La. Bring a headlamp for winter evenings, learn which back road skips the 4-way stop, and accept the loudest controversy you'll witness is whether the farmer's market allows dogs on leashes. Number 9, Plainview, Texas. I know, the name sounds like a spoiler, but I'm here to confirm it. If your ideal Saturday is comparing hose nozzles at the farm supply while a west wind delivers eau de feedlot, you've arrived. New rule, if the town slogan could be big shoulders, small plans, expect more errands than epiphanies. Plainview is panhandle pragmatism, grain elevators like skyscrapers for introverts, traffic so light you can count lug nuts, and a restaurant lineup that reads like interstate exit greatest hits. Stats for spreadsheet lovers, average commute near 15 minutes, retail leakage to bigger hubs an hour away, and the events calendar peaks with county fairs, high school football, and a brisket contest. Median home prices sit in the affordable tier, lawns are honest rectangles, and the loudest nightlife is a refrigerated semi backing into a loading dock. More data? Industrial land share outpaces park acreage, independent venues per 10,000 residents barely register, and after 8:30 p.m., your food options narrow to tacos, pizza, or prayer. People are kind, excitement is rationed. You'll learn wind directions by smell, measure distance in grain bins, and develop a spiritual relationship with windshield washer fluid. Good news is reliability. Trash day happens, the PTA shows up, and Friday lights draw half the zip code. But if you crave galleries, a jazz basement, or a ramen bar opening at midnight, Plainview will pat you on the shoulder and hand you a to-go cup. Call it safe, steady, stubbornly unfussy, perfect for building habits, hazardous for chasing dreams that require an audience. Number 8, North Platte, Nebraska. If you've ever wondered what infinity looks like, it's freight cars as far as your patience can see. Yes, Bailey Yard is an engineering marvel. No, that doesn't make date night less beige. New rule, when the skyline is mostly grain elevators and signal towers, nightlife gets measured in decibels of diesel. I'm talking to you, traveler, because you will stop here. Everyone does. Average commutes hover around a coffee podcast episode, housing is affordable, and crime stays middling low. But variety. After 2 weeks you'll know the menu at every chain, and your biggest decision will be south or north of the tracks. Numbers, festival days per year, rarely crack 40, independent music venues per 10,000 residents are a rounding error, and after 9 p.m. choices narrow to bowling, Walmart runs or watching locomotives couple in slow motion. Parks are plentiful, trails are flat, and the river is scenic in a postcard if you squint way. You'll become an expert in crosswinds, winter layers, and which gas station has the good ice. The railfan platform is packed on holidays, the library is hushed excellence the other 363 days. North Platte is clean, competent, relentlessly practical, the sort of place where city council agendas outdraw concerts. If you value predictability, it's paradise. If you crave weird, it's witness protection. You'll meet great people. You'll also plan weekends around football, lawn care, and the barbecue cook-off schedule like it's a fiscal calendar. Bring a thermos, memorize back roads, and admit it, you're already hearing that horn in your sleep nightly. Number 7, Rock Springs, Wyoming. Interstate travelers know it as the place you refuel yourself and the truck beneath a wind that could file your teeth. New rule, when weather apps keep a wind advisory burned into the corner, spontaneity hibernates. Look, the town is proud, tough, and tied to energy. That also means shift schedules, service trucks at dawn, and evenings that default to TV volume 12. Data time, average gusts sit in the 20s with spikes higher, winter days below freezing stack like cordwood, and trail usage drops to a brave few in January. Housing is attainable versus ski-town neighbors, commutes are short and crime rates wobble around national middles. Boredom comes from the loop work, gym, grocery, repeat. Food scene, solid steaks, competent Mexican, chain comfort, late night is an endangered species, independent venues per 10,000 scarce. Live music arrives like a passing front gone after one set. Parks are clean, rivers are pretty at dusk, and the museum is better than expected once. You'll master snowbrush technique, windshield chip repair, and which exit lane avoids the big rig parade. People are direct, helpful, outdoorsy when wind chill allows. The calendar fills with youth sports, ice fishing weekends, and fundraisers where the raffle prize is a freezer. Rock Springs is dependable, gritty, honest. Excitement is imported on tour buses. If you crave eccentric galleries, noodle bars, or midnight espresso, pack snacks and playlists. You'll get space, stars, paychecks on time, and a long echoing quiet that asks every Sunday night whether you're staying for the salary or the solitude. Number 6, Minot, North Dakota. You, yes you with the travel mug and the playlist of good intentions. This is the High Plains lullaby where routine hums louder than any headliner. New rule, when winter owns 8 months of the calendar and every errand becomes a logistics brief, your spontaneity snowplows itself. Minot is military adjacent, agriculture anchored, and weather dominated. Commutes are short, budgets stretch, and evenings default to crockpots, school gyms, and the same 3 sit-down restaurants. Data for the curious, wind chill days stack high, festival count low, and independent venues per 10,000 residents barely registers compared to cities you actually brag about. The mall is dependable and the coffee shops close by 6. Housing is sensible, ranches and garages deep enough for snowblowers and backup snowblowers. You'll learn which doors drift shut in a north wind, which intersections ice first, and how to stock a trunk like an Arctic warehouse blanket, booster, beef jerky, battery pack. Recreation means skating rinks, youth hockey, ice fishing, and a brave trail loop when the sun remembers you exist. Nightlife, trivia if the roads hold, variety, chili cook-offs, craft fairs, and the air show to remind you jets are real. People are kind, resilient, punctual, plans are made, weather cancels them, no one complains because complaining freezes. You'll become a connoisseur of boots, block heaters, and the tone of a diesel at -20. Minot promises reliability and delivers paychecks and calendars that repeat like a metronome. If your soul needs surprise, it will order it online and hope the package doesn't detour to Fargo first. Number 5, Hagerstown, Maryland. You've seen this exit 100 times, where tractor trailers braid Interstates 70 and 81, and warehouses bloom after a logistics rain. New rule, when the skyline is loading docks, and the nightlife is sodium lights, your Saturday plans will involve errands. Hagerstown is a corridor city, reliable, duty first, commutes are merciful, housing attainable, and the calendar a rotation of youth tournaments, flea markets and tribute bands. Data check. Retail square footage per person is high, independent venues per 10,000 residents low, and after 9 p.m., the probability you land at a chain rounds to 1. The good news is, convenience, big grocery, bigger parking lots, and a ring of medical, dental, tire, and tax services, so complete you could rebuild a life by lunch. The Arts District is earnest, the Canal towpath pleasant, the minor league park a fine Tuesday. But surprise is rare. You'll learn the choreography of left turns across truck traffic, memorize which lots allow overnight, and become a connoisseur of store brand everything. Weekends mean antique barns, outlet runs, and home improvement aisles where hope measures twice. People are decent, punctual and tired from shifts, commuting and coaching kids. Crime exists where it always does. Most streets are quiet enough to hear your thoughts negotiate with the thermostat. Hagerstown delivers predictability, steady paychecks, schools that function, and errands that win. If you crave a jazz basement, ramen after midnight, or a gallery that argues back, this exit will remind you the Beltway is that way. Merge signal often and don't miss the turn you've made 1,000 times. Number 4, Ocala, Florida. You came for sunshine, you stayed because the speed limit matches the energy. New rule: when a town's identity is equestrian estates, medical plazas, and gated communities with identical mailboxes, your social life will ride at a gentle trot. Ocala is tidy, affordable, daytime, commutes are short, cul-de-sacs plentiful, and soundtrack is sprinklers, leaf blowers, and golf carts at four-way stops. Data digest: median age trends older than the national figure. HOA density is robust, and event calendars tilt toward farmers markets, craft fairs, and concerts ending by 9. Restaurant variety exists: chains, steakhouses, southern staples. But late night is rare. The after-hours option is a pharmacy aisle. Housing is single-story sanity. Garages fit 2 cars and a hobby you never start. And pools count as exercise through maintenance. Outdoors, springs, trails, and horse shows amaze and recede by the 10th. You'll become fluent in storm shutters, lawn contracts, and the 3 kinds of summer: hot, hotter, lightning. Nightlife means trivia in a strip mall tap room, then bed before frogs outsing the freeway. Streets are safe, neighbors wave, and the biggest scandal is a gate code leak. Crime rates stay moderate low, schools are fine. But if your heart needs weird zine fairs, basement jazz, ramen after midnight, Ocala will smile and hand you a storage billboard. Predictability rules: dry cleaning ready Thursday, potholes patched, and a thermostat feud at 74. You'll thrive here if your calendar loves checkboxes. You will pace if you need chaos. Sunscreen, spreadsheets, early dinners, repeat. Your future delivered curbside in a community where even thunder follows rules. Number 3, Muncie, Indiana. If America needed a laboratory for ordinary, it built one here and called it Middletown. Then let the experiment idle. This is a city where errands are efficient, stakes modest, and novelty keeps office hours. New rule: when a place has been studied for normalcy longer than you've owned socks, expect competence with few twists. Commutes are short, parking everywhere, and the week organizes itself. Campus calendar, high school sports, grocery run, repeat. Data snapshot: median home prices in the accessible band, independent venues per 10,000 residents slim, and event density highest on homecoming and holidays. The university keeps lights on, the rest of town keeps receipts and early bedtimes. Campus keeps the coffee lines moving. Dining is fine. Diners, pizza, chains with stalwarts you'll know by the second Friday. Nightlife means trivia, karaoke, and calling it before your car frosts. Outdoors: flat paths by a steady river, clean parks, and disc golf when wind cooperates. Crime averages wobble middle. Streets feel watchful because everyone knows everybody's cousin. People are polite, civic, and busy with little leagues and fundraisers. Surprise is imported. Touring acts that fill the auditorium and vanish by 10. If your soul needs chaos, you'll chase it to Indianapolis and be back before midnight. Muncie excels at livable bills on time, schedules honored, potholes patched, and weather that negotiates seasons by committee. You'll find decency, routine, and parking near the door. You'll look up a year later and see every Tuesday still looks like Tuesday, either peace or a quiet scream, depending on what you hope to become. Number 2, Lubbock, Texas. You, me, and the horizon so flat your GPS yawns. Welcome to the cotton capital, where the skyline is silos, stadium lights, and dust with personality. Rule of thumb: if the town's soundtrack is leaf blowers, marching bands, and drive-through intercoms, your nightlife needs jumper cables. Lubbock does convenience brilliantly: 15-minute drives, parking anywhere, and a cost of living that makes mortgages behave. But surprise clocks out early. Data you can feel: restaurants cluster as chains, independent venues per 10,000 residents barely nudge the needle, and after 10 the probability of queso beats live jazz. The wind is a recurring character, the grid a spreadsheet, and the entertainment calendar runs on football, rodeo, and alumni weekends like crop rotation. You'll master red dirt car washes, recognize haboobs, and learn that every errand happens on loop 289, because all roads pretend to be circles. Culture exists: museums, murals, Buddy Holly reverence, but spontaneity is rationed. Touring acts touchdown, play early, and sprint for airports. Commutes are merciful, crime sits middle, and parks are rectangles with sprinklers. Grocery options are abundant, options after midnight are theoretical, and coffee shops close when your creativity finally wakes up. Neighbors are kind, calendars steady, and the loudest controversy is zoning or whether tortillas count as bread in school lunches. If you crave risk, you'll drive 3 hours and land in a different version of flat. If you crave routine, you'll thrive. Paychecks, carts piled high, and sunsets that your phone gives up. Bring podcasts, sunscreen, and expectations that fit in a pickup bed. Everything else gets sandblasted by Tuesday. Number 1. Midland, Texas. This is the high water mark of functional monotony, the oil patch capital where money moves, wind howls, and your calendar becomes a spreadsheet. Guiding principle: when the view is pump jacks, beige offices, and a sky big enough to hear yourself think, novelty gets booked like maintenance. Midland excels at predictable, short commutes, strong paychecks, and neighborhoods that appear fully formed with identical curbs and a grocery. Data that behaves. Restaurant mix leans chain. Late night options taper at 10, and independent venues per 10,000 fit on a sticky note. Weeknights belong to travel ball, church, and gym parking lots. Weekends to home improvement carts and brisket plans that start with radar. Wind plus grit means car wash subscriptions. Windshield chips as fashion, and sunsets filtered through dust like a sepia preset. Culture: a solid museum, a performing arts center booking safe bets, and galas where small talk drifts to drilling programs. Parks are tidy, trails logical, and the dog park understands demo. Trucks, boots, nods. Crime hovers middle. Schools run on bell schedules and booster clubs. You'll learn the service road U-turn, memorize frontage ramps, and perfect the quarter tank rule because exits stretch long. After hours, the glow is stadiums and chain signage. The loudest sound is HVAC. If you want chaos, you'll drive elsewhere and hurry home to quiet. If you want certainty, you'll flourish. Steady checks, patios curing in sun, calendars that repeat. Bring sunglasses, tire warranties, and a tolerance for beige. Midland won't shock or rescue you. It will keep time, pay on Friday, and ask nothing louder than a gust against your fence. So now you know, America isn't just built on glittering skylines and endless opportunity. It's also paved with flatlined towns that look alive on paper, but feel like they've been embalmed in mediocrity. And here's the question you need to wrestle with: are you living in one of them? Because boredom is sneaky. It creeps in while you're telling yourself you're comfortable. It settles into your bones while you convince yourself routine is stability. One day you look up and realize 5 years vanished in the same grocery aisles, the same cul-de-sacs, the same Friday nights scrolling Zillow like it's Netflix. That's the cost of boring towns. They don't just waste potential, they steal time. And look, I'm not saying everyone needs to pack up and run to New York or LA tomorrow. But ask yourself, is my town feeding me or draining me? Do I wake up with energy, or do I wake up bargaining with my alarm clock in a place that hasn't changed since Because cities shape people, and if your environment is beige, don't be surprised when your dreams start blending into the wallpaper. The truth is, boring towns survive because people stop questioning them. They settle. They mute their ambition. They convince themselves that safety is the same as fulfillment. Spoiler, it's not. So here's your takeaway. If your town made this list, don't get defensive. Get curious. Maybe it's time to demand better, or maybe it's time to leave. Comfort zones are just holding pens dressed up as neighborhoods. And the scariest thing isn't crime rates or traffic. It's wasting your life in a place so boring you forget you were supposed to live it.